Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Old Head on the Porch with some flies. For those of you who didn't see the last one, this is literally just a series of videos where I sit out on my front porch, I have a beer, we'll talk about that in a minute, and I talk about what's going on in the world of rock and metal, things that I've seen in the news or posted from bands' pages, things that I find interest in that I'd like to chat about. So join me, pull up a chair, open a beer of your choice. So hold on. So this week, the beer of my choice is this Lilcella. I'm sticking with the Karbach Brewery, which is right here in Houston, Texas. And the Lilcella is perfect because I love Mexican beer, and it's a light beer because I like to drink a lot of beer. You know, trying to watch my figure. It's a great beer. Yeah, it's really good. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, rock and metal news, things going on in the world. The first thing I want to talk about, which is a little bit divisive, I think, is at the end of last month, I think it was around the 27th, David DeSanto, who some of you may know as the front man of the band Vektor, a technical thrash metal band, amazing band. So I don't know if it was him that posted, or I'm assuming it was, but through the Vektor Facebook page, they announced that they were reforming with the original other guitar player who had quit the band. The whole band, aside from David DeSanto, had quit the band 2 or 3 years ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago, I don't know. But they're reforming, they're working on new material. They're planning on touring, I guess, when all this Corona business is done. And so that's the announcement, that they've got a brand new band put together with that other guitar player. And it's odd because for those of you who've been following the news about this band, like I said, the whole band quit. So that's a little concerning, but to be fair, there are a lot of really great metal bands out there where the mastermind behind everything is a little bit hard to work with. So I'm not going to fault him there. But then on top of that, shortly after that, there was accusations of domestic abuse from the ex. I don't know if they were married or I don't know, his ex of David DeSanto. Now, everyone makes up their own mind on the internet. Everybody takes whatever information they have or lack thereof and makes their own assessment. My assessment's pretty simple. I don't know anybody involved. I don't know him as a person. I don't know her as a person. So I can't judge whose story is the correct story. I am a fan of the band. So really, I'm going to try to just leave things at that level. Because I don't know, motorcycle action going on. Can anybody hear that? Anyway, so yes, I'm excited about hearing the new Vektor because I thought Vektor was an amazing band and they put out nothing but amazing music. But it's one of those things where it's like you don't really know how to feel about it, and I'm not faulting anybody for choosing whatever way they want to take that. I'm just choosing the route of I don't know. So therefore, I'm just going to listen to the music and see if I like it or not. So there you go, Vektor, back on the scene. We'll see what happens with that. Moving on. Yeah. Recently, there was an interview with Bill Kellier, who some of you may know is a guitar player who's in the band Mastodon. And he basically was saying that the band have been working on a new album, which is fucking great because Mastodon is one of my favorite bands. But the little tidbit that really got me was that he also said that they had completed a song that is going to be included on the next Bill and Ted movie soundtrack, which for those of you who don't know, that movie is called Bill and Ted Face the Music. And that is very exciting. Like I said, Mastodon, one of my favorite bands, but also the last Bill and Ted movie, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey from back in 1991, had a fucking hell of a soundtrack. So there's that part, you guys hear all the cop sirens? I live in that kind of neighborhood. So it makes me wonder, like, are they going to try to not only bring back Bill and Ted in a big way, but also really bring back the big soundtrack? What's the last big soundtrack you guys can think of? I don't know what that would be. It was in the 90s, I think. But that's exciting because Mastodon. So who knows who else is going to be involved in the Bill and Ted soundtrack. On that note, I believe it was just yesterday, or maybe the day before, they premiered the trailer for Bill and Ted Face the Music, and it looks pretty fucking good. I know for like cool film people, it's probably a good idea to shit on it, but knowing what I know about this movie, because I'm a huge fan of the first two, and I've read a lot of shit. Knowing what I know about this movie, it would not be being made and put out, especially with Keanu Reeves, who's a big fucking star, if it wasn't a fucking quality film. And I have a theory on what the movie's going to be, but I'm not going to share it, because if I'm right, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But in the trailer, you basically realize that they're now in their, I guess, late 40s. I don't know how old they are, but they have not yet written the song that's going to change the world. And so they decide to travel to the future to steal it from the version of themselves that has already written the song. That's kind of what you get from the trailer. And I have theories. And if you watch the trailer, maybe you will have them too. All I know is that the big theory for me is that it's going to be a fucking killer, fun movie. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Is it going to come out on Netflix? Is it going to come out in a theater? Because it's supposed to be out this summer. So, I don't know. If they put it out in a theater, I may just have to do some sort of social distancing movie watching, because I don't want to miss this one. Anyway, so yeah, Bill and Ted 3, Mastodon, new Mastodon. I mean, all these things are TBA, because who knows when the fuck they'll finish things, if they can get to a studio to record the things, if they can get somebody to come out and do the mixing and mastering, all of that shit. I guess in this day and age, you just fucking email it everywhere, right? I don't know. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. Hold on. Up next, I wish I had like another camera set up over here so I could do like a news thing where I tap my papers and I turn and I go, in other news. But yes, in other news, Mr. Bungle, which is, if you don't know, the side project of Mr. Mike Patton of Faith No More fame, more of a chaotic, all over the place, very unique band, have just put out a cover of the Exploited song USA, which I actually did a video about the album that song is on. It's called Troops of Tomorrow, and it's a fucking killer cover. But the thing is, it's not only Mr. Bungle, but it's Mr. Bungle with hold on, I forget names. Trace Perrance and Trevor Dunn. Of course, why would I forget their names? Sorry if I have paper rattling. I have notes. I'm not perfect. Okay. So anyway, not only is it those key members of Mr. Bungle, but also we have on drums Mr. Dave Lombardo, and on rhythm guitar none other than Scott Ian from Anthrax. So you know I'm fucking excited about that whole fucking thing. And what do I mean by the whole thing? I don't just mean this cover of an Exploited song. They had been in the studio re-recording the original Mr. Bungle demo called The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. And this version of Mr. Bungle had been doing shows where they played songs from that demo, and it's way more hardcore and crazy and fast and brutal than some of the Mr. Bungle stuff that came out. It's not so much all over the place in sort of a genre bending kind of way. It's just more of a wacky hardcore punk kind of thing. And the fact that all of those guys together are getting on board with re-recording that demo, that's probably my most anticipated album of the year, if it's going to come out this year. I really hope it does, because that sounds fucking killer. Let's drink to that. I don't know if somebody just got shot with a machine gun or something. Was that on the thing? It could have also been some sort of construction tool. Who knows? They're doing shit all over the place here. Anyway, since we're talking about people in the studio, it was also kind of hinted that Cannibal Corpse are in the studio. George Corpse Grinder Fisher, posted a picture of him in a what looks like a vocal booth, ready to do some vocals. Is it for demos? Are they actually already at the recording stages? Who the fuck knows? All I know is that I love Cannibal Corpse. I don't think they've ever put out a bad album, and so I'm looking forward to whatever they do next, even if it does just sound similar to the last few albums, because that's kind of what they've been doing. But the big question is, Pat O'Brien. What the fuck? Because if you don't know, Pat O'Brien, one of the guitar players in Cannibal Corpse, went a little bit crazy and apparently broke into somebody's house, claiming that people were after him or something like that, and then they end up finding that he has like stockpiles of like weapons and shit and explosives in his home, and apparently like he went into some sort of counseling, or maybe it was drug related, I don't fucking know, but I hope he's doing well, and most importantly, I hope that he plays on this fucking album, because Pat O'Brien is a ridiculously good guitar player. So that whole thing is in my brain, like, hey George, let everybody know Pat's okay. If any of you know, if there's been anything posted about Pat, let me know, because I haven't seen anything. But new Cannibal Corpse. So hold on, one more. Let's wrap this up, because I don't want to keep you guys here forever. Last but not least, just yesterday, Lars Ulrich, love him or hate him, he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he kind of announced that Metallica would be releasing the S&M 2. I guess it was in the theaters, but they're going to be releasing it, I guess, in the audio format, probably vinyl and digital and all that stuff. And I didn't see the theatrical thing. So I have no idea what they played. I'm just waiting, I guess, for it to come out on I guess they'll probably do a Blu-ray or DVD. Or on, do people buy physical copies of movies anymore? I'm guessing I'll buy it on iTunes. But I'm interested to see how this one goes, because to be completely honest, the first S&M album is my least favorite Metallica album, and I'm literally putting that below Lulu, because sometimes I feel like the orchestra just kind of took away from the songs, and it didn't do it for me. It's still fucking amazing because it's Metallica and that's my favorite band, but yeah, it's the thing that I listen to the least by that band, and so I'm really interested to hear what this second S&M recording sounds like. So and obviously it's not the same conductor, because I think that conductor and composer passed away. So it'll be really interesting to find out. So yeah, hold on, one more drink. One for the road. So yeah, that's really all I have to talk about for this edition of Old Head on the Porch. Please put down in the comments below what you think about some of the stories that I talked about. If you know anything about Pat O'Brien, let me know. But yeah, everybody just stay safe. I know that they're opening things up out there, but be careful. And yeah, so if you can find, Lil Cella, I don't know where they have these, because it's brewed here in Houston, Texas, so clearly I can get it here. But if you can find this anywhere, and you like the sort of Mexican beer, your Coronas and Tecates and what's that other one, Dos Equis, this is better than all those. Yeah. Somebody's getting in their car and leaving, so I'm going to leave too. I will see you all again very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and I will see... Did I already say that? I already said that. I'm not going to say it again. I'm just continuing to talk. Are you still watching? Why? Get the fuck out of here. Bye.